How's it going, guys? It's Brian. Been a while since you saw my ugly mug, so I figured I'd oblige. So, things have been exciting over the past couple weeks, both in good and bad ways. But I sold my old Cobb access port from my 2015 Mustang EcoBoost finally after, getting rid of that car almost 3 years ago. So, I had some money to play with for some headers and I was real excited about that because I really wanted to get some catted headers, and I'll explain why in a minute. But I was looking at PLM headers because even though I had some money to play with, I didn't necessarily want to drop over $1,000 on catted headers. So I was looking at PLM headers, and they usually retail for around $900 roughly. And I saw this site where they were advertising them for roughly $450, which I thought was very strange. And I won't mention the store, but basically, to make a long story short, I purchased them using PayPal, just in case anything went fishy, and it didn't work out. Basically, it was a bait and switch, and they after like 48 hours after I'd made the transaction and purchased them, they hit me up saying, "Oh, we need the other 450." And I was just kind of like, full stop. I did not see anything even remotely suggesting in the fine print that this was an installment. This was, you sold these outright for 450, and long story short, they didn't honor it. And I think that's pretty shitty of them. Whether or not they made a mistake with the pricing, you always stand by and do what's best for the customer. The customer's always right, to sound cliched. And, I thought if someone made a mistake with the price on these headers, oh well. But, you need to hold them accountable. Don't screw the customer over because someone made a critical error on your sales team. But I digress. So I'm in the process of getting the money back. In the meantime, I just ended up buying the headers from PLM directly, like right from their website. And they are on their way. They should be here on Monday. I'm really hoping they get here Friday because my weekends are going to get kind of busy for the next couple weekends with Airsoft. And I just am really going to want to anxiously install these. And I'd rather not try to do it after work. I just rather have like a full day. It shouldn't be a super difficult install, but I just basically have to pop the 202 sensors, connectors out, which are right there, right on the top of the engine, on the engine bay. Undo 3 bolts on the one side of the header, 3 bolts on the other, the 2 bolts holding the flange on to the overpipe, and they should just drop out. I may need to loosen up the overpipe just to give it a little bit of play so I can work the stock headers out. But it should be a pretty easy job, but I'd rather just have like a full day so I'm not rushing. It's not as critical. If I hit a roadblock, I can always just take the Jeep to work. But I'd like to get this done. But yeah, so I bought a set of PLM catted headers. And the reason I got catted headers was one, because I really want to minimize rasp. I'm looking for a bassy exhaust note. I really like the exhaust note I have right now on it with the MXP Comp RS catback I have paired with the Burks catted front pipe, which has like a smaller high flow cat. I think it's like a 200 cell cat compared to like the 600 one that was stock. But I'm just missing the Subi rumble and I'm missing the volume. So I have the tone. Now I'm just trying to get the volume. So I think that's where these catted headers will really help. So I think just having 2 high flow cats will keep it pretty bassy while still giving me that Subi boxer rumble along with some more volume, but not too loud. So I also am not planning in the immediate future to get a tune on this car, which, some people frown upon that, but I do have just under a year left on the, 3-year bumper-to-bumper warranty on this car, so I don't want to mess with tuning just yet, but I think I should be fine because I also purchased an O2 spacer, which will basically just keep the O2 sensor out of the downstream of the exhaust, so it doesn't notice an increase in, you know, the exhaust, because the cell on the CAT is a lot, I guess you call it thinner or a little more perforated or less restrictive. Some people haven't had any issues. Some people have, and they've had a check engine light thrown for the catalytic converter efficiency. But I'm hoping that just between having a catalytic converter on the headers along with an O2 spacer, that'll just keep me in the clear until I can get to the point where I want to tune this guy, because I've just loved the car otherwise. But yeah, that's my plan. I've got the headers ordered. I've got the O2 spacer ordered. I saw one that someone mentioned in a video on here that they said worked for them, and they showed it in real time. There were a couple different styles, but I think it's a pretty basic concept, especially when you're putting a catted header on versus a catless header. But, I'm just kind of sitting here waiting, so I kind of made this video because I'm getting anxious to really slap these bad boys on, because I'm kind of anxious because I've never put headers on before, but I'm pretty confident in my capabilities, especially after I was able to install the overpipe on here all by myself. Not that it's a super complicated concept, it's just a couple bolts, but when you're not formally trained and you don't have a lot of experience, when you do kind of step out of your comfort zone and try something new and it works, you get a little confidence and it feels good. But other than that, it's just kind of been chilling here in the garage because the weather's so bad. And I finally got to have my Jeep back because my wife was using it all last week and the beginning of this week, because she actually got her 2017 WRX Pro-tuned or dyno-tuned. And I guess they wanted to just be thorough and make sure everything was right. So they took them a couple days to actually tune it. But it's great. She got the block walnut blasted or the intake manifold walnut blasted, just to kind of get all the carbon off it. And they showed before and after, and there was a lot of carbon on it at 90,000 miles. But yeah, so I've been driving the Jeep around lately, and I did miss it, but I love this car, man. It's just, I drove it down to the Maryland/Delaware area, and that was my first long drive with this guy, and it was great. I loved every minute of it. So I'm just rambling at this point. My next video, I'm probably going to do a kind of general follow-up on the header install and just kind of document my progress. But I'll see you guys then. Take care.